Shalom. This is an emergency broadcast alert, giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rekakadash, in whom we are in great debt. Double honors to the apostles of great millstone who rule well, continue doing so, standing firm in the eyes of Torah, who I learned this truth from. To the elders, the bishops, Akim and Aquab, salutations and blessings to the house of David. We are the hopeful elect, the GMS. This is your brother Quasiyar with another fairly quick one. Now, I don't know what happened to Bernie Sanders. Salakia, again, I'm been under a lot of stress lately. But anyways, I don't know what happened to Bernie Sanders, but I see that he's gotten like a boost of energy somehow. Did they replace his battery? I don't know what happened, because like last year he was dragging his feet. He couldn't hardly talk. Now, all of a sudden, he's got all this energy. Anyway, what's making me make this video is that he's routing up the people. Like, he's getting the people together, and the way he's doing it, what he's saying is kind of, well, let me let you hear it. Before I am going to read, let me get the scripture. Hold on. This is Isaiah 19, verse 4. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hands of a cruel Lord. Salakia. And a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord of hosts. And if you go further into, well, let me just read it. And the waters shall fail from the sea, and the river shall be wasted and dried up. And if you think about it, all right, so you might say, oh, that's in the past, Egyptian. Nevertheless, history repeats itself, and the Lord, the cruel Lord, is here today. All right. Why I say that? Because he's drying up America, especially the way of you 2/3, and his own people are suffering because this was supposed to be the Edomite kingdom, and his people, well, the Lord is turning everything upside down. Let's hear a little bit of Bernie Sanders.
We will not accept the unprecedented level of kleptocracy and corruption in the White House. We are rejecting the vicious attacks against the working class of this country. And we sure as hell do not want U.S. support for endless and horrible wars in Gaza, Iran, Lebanon, and any place else.
And all of this is happening in the hands of the cruel Lord. And wait, there's more.
A conservative Republican or a progressive, you understand that it is absurd to spend billions of dollars killing people, innocent people abroad. Let's invest and rebuild America.
And you cannot do that. I have to get that. This is Jeremiah 51 verse 9. We would have healed Babylon. And of course, you might not accept it. You won't agree. That's okay. It doesn't mean that it's not going to happen, because the Lord wrote it down this way for only a certain few can understand. This is Babylon. This is Egypt. This is AKA Sodom and Gomorrah. All right. I'm going to read that again. Jeremiah 51 verse 9. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go everyone unto his own country, for her judgment reaches unto heaven and is lifted up even to the sky. And the Lord knows, because he's the one that's doing it. And there's a lot of people saying, oh, let's get out of here, let's get out of here. But spiritually, he's talking to his men, right, to get out of the system. You got to get out of our head. Get this system, this stupidity that this man is talking about, because it is not going to get better.
Now, what I want to do this evening is kind of do what most members of Congress do not do, and that is tell you the truth.
Unfortunately, he cannot tell you that neither or either. You would have to get it directly from GMS, the 100% truth.
And there is, when we talk about the truth, there is a lot of very bad and frightening news, but there's also some very good news. And I want to go.
There's no good news. Only the gospel is the good news. Everything that's coming out of this man's mouth is only trouble.
Over both. The bad news, and it's important that we understand it, because you're not going to see this in corporate media. You're not going to see it when you turn on the TV tonight.
You ain't going to see it coming neither, because if you're not listening to the apostles of Great Millstone, you ain't going to see it coming.
You're not going to hear it in the halls of Congress. The bad news is that never before in American history, never, have so few people held so much wealth and, even more importantly, so much power. And it's important to know, when we were in school, we learned about the Gilded Age. Remember that? Rockefellers and Carnegies and the Astors, the robber barons. We learned about these guys were incredibly wealthy and incredibly powerful. Nothing compared to what exists today. Today,
it is the same people still in power. They just got hungrier. They got thirstier. They have... Let's just continue.
In America, and again, you don't see this on TV, corporate media doesn't talk about it. Today in America, the top 1% now owns more wealth than the bottom 93%.
And where have you heard that before? Because the apostles of Great Millstone continuously tell you about all these, Rothschilds, and they name them down the line, man. You name them. You've been told, man. Oh, wow. That's another scripture. This is Romans 1, verse 18. I'll start at 18. For the wrath of the Most High is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of man, who hold the truth in unrighteousness, because that which may be known of the Most High is manifest in them. For the Most High has shown it unto them. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. And that includes these Edomite, so-called white people. All right? They know. All right? A lot of them know. Well, a lot of them don't know. They think they believe in aliens and whatnot. But yeah, that's their problem. That's what the Lord put in them.
Even more insane, the richest guy in the world, Mr. Musk, One man now owns more wealth than the bottom 53% of American households. You got that? I want you to, it's important to understand the insanity and the brokenness of this current economy when one person, who's, by the way, going to get even richer, I think, in the next couple of weeks or months.
And, well, you can't just give it all to Elon Musk, all right? Because guess what? Bill Gates has his hand on it, too, all right? He's got a lot of land. He's creating a lot of, garbage food, all right? So, yeah.
Owns more wealth than the bottom 53% of American households. And we have now CEOs, it's always, if you're a worker, you always know the guy on top makes more money than the worker does. Nothing new about that. But right now, in an unprecedented way, you have CEOs making 350 times what the average employee earns.
And he's starting to get fat, right? That scripture comes to me, but he's not there yet. But because, you have to wait a little longer because the implementation of the chip, also because of the chaos that they creating, there's less jobs, there's people, that, no more, there's hardly no money to go around. And so there's going to be women looking for protection. And that brings me to something. Wait a second. Give me a second. This is Isaiah 4 verse 1. And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. And this is what's going to happen when, it gets a little tighter. And people are going to start seeing, these men who are in the highways and byways are not going through the same things that we're going through. And then that's because Yahweh and Yahushua got our back. And these women are going to see it.
And the gap between the very, very rich and everybody else is growing wider. Last year alone, after receiving the largest tax break in history from Mr. Trump, 938 billionaires became $1.5 trillion richer. And it's important to understand that as bad as the situation is now, it has been going on for decades. According to the Rand Corporation, not exactly a socialist operation, over the last 50 years, there has been a $79 trillion redistribution of wealth from the bottom 90% to the top 1%.
And that's what creates, they've been setting it up for Jacob's trouble, right? That's everybody's trouble. And of course, that is Yahweh that's doing it. He's using these people just like he used us to fall and neglect, right? That we should drink the cup, man. That this people should, raise up against us and take control. He's doing it to them this time around. And he's using them to fall on their own face. And so before I play the last part of this clip that I have, I'll read Jeremiah 30, verse 6. Ask ye now, and see whether a man doeth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins? It's going to get nasty. As a woman in travail, and all face are turned into palelessness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And Jacob represents the 12 tribes of Israel, but only a remnant of that will be saved. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. And we have to go through the fire. We have to see that chip being implemented, before we can see the missiles drop, so the Lord can save us from out of that. Let's just play the little bit left, and I'll call it.
My coworkers thought I'd get fired for eating these gummies. Funny how I became the most productive person in the office.
But it's not just income and wealth inequality. It's not just the fact that so few have so much wealth and so many people have so little. We have never had more concentration of ownership than exists today. Today, a handful of giant corporations dominate sector after sector of our economy.
And that tells you, this is a corporation. America is a corporation.
Whether it's agriculture, transportation, energy, financial services, artificial intelligence, you name it. And as a result of that concentration of ownership and monopolistic practices, we pay far higher prices.
And how we pay? And if we can't pay those prices, prison.
Than we should. And importantly, when we talk about concentration of ownership, we have got to focus on the media.
You see what he just said? That's concentration camps, man. Hold on a second.
Monopolistic practices, we pay far higher prices than we should. Whether it's agriculture, it's not just the fact that so few have so much wealth and so many people have so little. We have never had more concentration of ownership than exists today. Today, a handful of giant corporations dominate sector after sector of our economy, whether it's agriculture, transportation, energy, financial services, artificial intelligence, you name it. And as a result of that concentration of ownership and monopolistic practices, we pay far higher prices than we should. And importantly, when we talk about concentration of ownership, we have got to focus on the media. Now, why is media so important? It's not what Trump calls fake news. A reporter writes a bad story about him and he gets all upset about it.
Remember, it's funny that he brought this up, because media is nothing but a programming system to program you to obey. Remember the Rodney Piper? Is it Rodney Piper? What's the movie They Live?
It's more importantly, these are the folks who determine what the issues are that we are thinking about, what we consider to be important or unimportant, what we focus on or what we don't focus on. It is not an accident today that in America, 6 large media conglomerates control about 90% of what the American people see, hear, and read. As I think many of you know, I want you to think about this for a moment. Why is it?
I want you to think about this for a moment. How does someone can stand for so long? In this video, I'm not going to play the whole video because it's 43 minutes. But how is someone that couldn't stand on his 2 feet quite right last year has the strength to speak loud as he's speaking and standing up for so long? You got to ask yourself, man.
Richest guy on earth, Mr. Musk, owns Twitter, now called X. Why is that? Jeff Bezos, one of the wealthiest guys, owns the Washington Post and Twitch. Mark Zuckerberg, one of the handful of wealthiest people, owns Meta, which includes Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger, and Threads. Rupert Murdoch, owns Fox News, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Post. Larry Ellison owns CBS, TikTok, Paramount Pictures, Skydance, MTV, and is on his way to acquiring CNN and Warner Brothers. Point is, their media helps us to determine what we are going to be discussing, what we talk about.
No, it does not. Their media just keeps you docile. All right? Anyways, that's all I got for now. Shalom.